Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're going to be talking about the spell Passwall. All right, take it away, Sam. What is Passwall?
Well, Passwall makes a hole. It's a 5 foot wide, 8 foot tall, and 20 foot deep hole. And you can put that basically on whatever wooden, plaster, or stone surface, such as a wall or ceiling or floor, really whatever you want. I think the name sort of makes it inclined to be like, oh, this makes a hole in the wall that I can then go through. And then yes, it does do that. You can also make a pitfall trap with it. But yeah, you basically, if you want a hole, this is a hole. This spell is just a hole. How good is a hole? Is it worth a 5th level slot? Probably not, but it's still pretty good. I think it's very fun. Also, comments. I would love to know why this takes a pinch of sesame seeds. I don't get the reference. Bob, do you get the reference?
No.
Yeah, someone please let me know, because I keep reading and I'm like, that can't. It has to be something. Is it open sesame? Is it like a weird translation thing?
I bet it is. That would be better for a spell like knock or something,
right? I don't know. But yeah.
The only other thing I can think of, I mean, it's a street and a thing to put on hamburgers, buns. I don't know.
Yeah, there's probably some weird historical context behind it that I just don't get.
I think you're right. It's the open sesame. It does create an opening.
True. I guess I need to read 101 Arabian Nights again. That's what that's called, right? 101. I think that's it. Yeah, that's the Latin story. We're off track. We're very, very far away from where we're going. Bob, let's take it here from you this time. How good do you think Passwall is? Do you think this is an absolute banger of a spell? Would you take this one?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that I would. In my writing, I've thought of some fun ways to use portable holes. We'll misuse them, but I think creating a hole in a wall can have a lot of uses beyond, accessing places you otherwise would not be able to access. For example, put it on the hull of a ship.
That's a very easy way to sink a ship.
Oh yeah.
If you especially with how deep it is, conceivably you just take the central section of a ship and just be like, hole there now, and just wait, and then everything will sink very quickly, and you'll have a very bad time. A competent wizard and a Passwall easily, because you have dimension door and stuff too. Just imagine the kind of naval warfare that you'd have to metagame and mind game. You don't need cannonballs or anything. Whenever you just teleport aboard the ship, make a Passwall and teleport out. Easy peasy. That ship's gone forever.
What's the range on this one?
It's a 30-foot range, but you don't have to be within 30 feet of it. Once you cast it, it's there. You can do whatever you like. You can
no, just say, do you even have to teleport? But yeah, probably at sea, you're not going to be 30 feet.
If you're a druid, maybe, because this is a circle to land druid spell. So maybe you turn into a little squid, fly up there, turn into yourself real quick, Passwall it, and then slink away as a squid. That's cute. I think there's probably some, with just this concept alone, I think there's some fun, a cult of druids that are all very much against this new naval base or whatever that's forming up in some city, and they're sinking a bunch of ships and no one understands where the wood goes because they find all the ships intact after the hour passes and everyone's dead and has sunk and the ship is just perfectly fine, just directly under the water. That's a neat little concept for a mystery. DMs take that.
Except, is it really that mysterious in a world where Passwall exists?
I think you would be, if you went into it with there's an entirely intact ship with no damaging marks on it at the bottom of the ocean. What happened? I think there's a little bit more of a mystery to that, right? You don't necessarily jump.
If you're not already talking about Passwall, then I guess
exactly. So. If you aren't going into it talking let's talk about Passwall today, maybe. Beyond that, there are like you said, there's a billion uses for holes, right?
All right. Well, yeah, that was the one that sprung to mind for me. What about you? What do you got?
I'm a big proponent of the classic, the dwarves have a big safe that you really shouldn't be breaking into, but really want to break into. I like the big heist mission kind of adventures where the players are definitely doing something for selfish means, but it's just a big, fun, selfish, let's go steal a bunch of money kind of adventures. I think those are some of the best kinds. In which case, Passwall is just a one-way ticket into wherever you'd like to be, which is sweet. You can break into castles, prisons, out of prisons. You can make a giant hole in the ground, fill it with some spikes, push some kobolds in. That's not always a classic. There's also the fun bit where, like, if you're on a multi-level structure, you can just make a big hole in the ground right next to a door. And if creatures are chasing you, you close the door, make the hole, and then let them just plummet their way down a few stories to somewhere else, so they don't have to deal with them anymore. That's very fun. You'll sometimes be at a wizard's tower, and the wizard's tower will be relatively narrow and just make a gigantic vertical hurl through the center of it that's 20 feet wide and covers 2-ish stories. That can be useful. Liquids are very fun with this. If you have like a big pool of water and would like it to be vacant, hole in the ground, water goes into a hole for an hour. What can you do with that? That's a great question. But all kinds of nifty things one way or another. This is the kind of spell that I think will keep cropping up as that's a neat thing to do with this. Now, granted, I'm not convinced that this spell level justifies any of the effects I just said. I don't think a 5th level spell slot is really good enough. Like, I think it's too high for what you're realistically getting. Especially whenever, like, at the higher levels, you think like etherealness, which give you like full scope control over the enormous space. You can go wherever you want, no boundaries, no walls, no nothing. This is substantially worse than that. But with the duration of an hour, with no concentration requirements, with some nifty, like, fun utility cases, while if you're not at the table to like win, if you're there to have fun with your friends, and I think it's like, again, the majority of D&D is like this, right? You want a cool tool to do stuff with. I think a lot of what you can do with Passwall, you can definitely do with other things. A lot of what you can do with Passwall, you can do with things like Stone Shade. You can do with things, just like you said earlier, Portable Hole. You don't need Passwall for any of that. You can take it if you're like, I like this effect, I want to play with it. And doing that, you'll probably, again, find better things to do with your spell slots than this, but you'll have fun using this at least.
I got a couple more ideas while you were talking. You inspired some thoughts in me. The Dwarven Safe. All right. Okay, great for breaking into a dwarven safe. But what if the safe itself, these crafty dwarves, constructed it just solid walls, no doors at all, or just a natural looking stone? You wouldn't even know there's a safe there, but they know, and the only way in is a pass wall. Fun
then
stuff.
You have the Passwall Keeper. Yeah, that's very cool. This spell definitely lends itself really well to those kind of world building things. What else you
got? Same thing with the Wizard's Tower. You know, the wizard.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, why doesn't this guy have any doors? How does he get in here? He has a way.
Use Passwalls. And if you're a guest coming with him, he goes, yeah, come on in. The door's there for an hour. Let me know when you need to leave.
And you mentioned, like, what was it, the swimming pool, and you drain it for an hour. Okay. Interrogation. You got people chained to rocks at the bottom of the pool. So you got an hour to talk, or I'll toss you the keys. Otherwise, that water's going to come back up.
Sure. I don't know how dramatic that is, but yeah, sure. There's just like a giant hole filled with water, and you're just like, you have 1 hour to tell me everything. And they're like, okay, I guess we're going to deliberate for around 59 minutes. And then still nothing's going to happen. And then spontaneously, all the water's going to out of the floor and splash all over us. But
it was better than the interrogation we talked about a little while back with was it a secret chest where
I've stolen your things. In 3 to 6 months they'll be gone forever.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
All right, well, you know what, those just things I came up with while you were talking. Fun times.
And I don't think it would be that difficult. Like, I think, again, if you're using this as a DM tool, like you're suggesting, that's really what all the use cases there are basically DM tools outside of the weird interrogation thing, which, listen, a barbarian's intimidation check is probably going to get you there 95% of the time anyway. But outside of that use case, right, I think that there is ample room for DMs to have a lot of fun being like, what does a society built around Passwall look like? Maybe like you just give dwarves in your world racially Passwall. And while that might seem wild, in practice, it might not be that busted. It's pretty neat, and it'll have some weird implications on how you DM, but you could definitely do some fun things with stuff like Passwall in making an engaging and world that, like, these creatures interact fundamentally differently with space than others and have a very different means of defense. And it's just you as a player that have to rewrap your head around, okay, can we trust any wall? Could this just be anywhere? Are there designated markings for these things? Do we need to be on a constant vigilant lookout for where the pass walls are supposed to go? Signs of pass walls going away and coming up, I think, is an interesting concept as well. Like, is there just going to be a little faint outline in the dirt where the tunnel once was? How apparent is it that it's gone or not? There are some neat, interesting questions that I think you can do with pass wall. I think it's a great little spell to exist. But ultimately, it's pretty bad. And that's fine. I like bad spells that are fun. And this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to call it bad. Even at 5th level. 5th level is not. It's it's higher than I normally get, but
Exactly.
yeah.
Have you ever once in your game been like, man, I really need Passwall right here whenever you have teleportation at lower levels, whenever you have explosives, whenever you have shovels? Like, I don't know. I'm not sold that it's all that useful. And there are definitely way more powerful things that are going to have more applicable uses than this most of the time, which is why I'm like, ooh, okay, yeah, this isn't good. But like we said earlier, like all the examples we've been giving this whole time, I don't want people to think like, just because I think it's bad doesn't mean I don't think you should take it. I think if you like this kind of thing and I love this kind of thing, you should take it and we'll have fun with it.
I think with like as I do with many spells that'll reward creativity that we haven't come up with on this little chat here. You got a rating?
I think this is a 2. This is bad but fun, and we'll find out one of the right character sheets. Comments, tell us how you'd use Passwall in addition to what the Sesame references, and if I'm right and it is an Aladdin thing, but I don't know.
I'm gonna give it a 4.
4.
4. It's not a 5, but I don't know. I'm a sucker for fun.
Sure.
And yeah, and things you can use creatively.
I think that our scores really reflect how fun you think the spell is and how powerful I think the spell is. I think it's what our actual scores represent, which is great.
Yeah, the power words neither fun nor powerful.
Nope, just garbage.
Okay, audience, if you guys got any of those creative uses, we'd love to hear them in the comments. Until then, thank you, Sam, and thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description, where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.